We're back with another 10 under 10 GPP showdown. What am I talking about? Showdown. GPP breakdown where I give you my 10 favorite players, all under 10% owned. Draftkings, Fanduel, we cover it all. We got you, DFS Army. Let's go. Showdown. What the heck am I talking about? We are talking about the Sunday main slate. NFL Week 10. We're trying to win the millie. And to do that, you got to have some low-owned plays. So that is what I've got for you guys today. Apparently, my mic is 4,000 feet away from me, and I didn't realize it. So sorry if you couldn't hear me there at the beginning. But we are just a little bit of a hot mess today. I'm a little tired. Been building a lot of content this week. We got golf. We got NFL. We do it all over at DFS Army. If you want to get involved, obviously use that code UpNorth, 10% off VIP membership. And if you like content like this, please. Oh, I'm not even, look at me. I'm not even presenting anything. Please hit the like and subscribe button. And if you think you're smarter than me, which the reality is, guys, you are clearly, as you can see, I struggle here today. Then let me know who your favorite under 10% owned play is this week. And honestly, I just like to see it anyways, because it makes me think, and our listeners and watchers are some of the smartest in the biz. So 10 under 10 GPP options under 10% owned. We get 5 from DraftKings, 5 from Fanduel. And you guys know my motto by now if you've been watching this for the last 10 weeks or even last year. First or last, I ain't here to min cash. So to be honest, I would rather take a 0 than a guy just crossing the cash line or hitting 2x value. So let's get a quick recap of last week's picks. We've got Taylor Heineke at quarterback. Was okay, right? Got smoked by my boy Josh Dobbs. He was the QB 10 on the week, but did return 3.14x. Baker Mayfield, super slow start, but really got it going in the second half. 3.65x value. Solid week. AJ Dillon, 5.3 points, RB 25. I've got a thought, all right? And I'm going to share that with you guys in a little bit here. Juju Smith-Schuster, 11 points, and then a 0. Like I said, I'd rather have a 0, and I got one last week from arguably one of the most consistent performers all year, especially because he's been healthy all year. And that's Mike Thomas, 0 points, wide receiver, 1,000. Really struggled. FanDuel, though, really good week. Outside of maybe Hoyce Freeman, we got Derek Carr was the QB9, Dak Prescott was the QB2, Noah Brown was the wide receiver 2, and Cole Kmet was the tight end 2. So hitting 3 of the top 2 plays on FanDuel is pretty good, right? I'm fairly happy that we were able to identify those guys. And as you guys know, with being under 10% owned, chalk is chalk for a reason. And that leads me to one of my biggest takeaways so far, and that is that RB chalk, 95% of the time, is just chalk that we need to eat. Now, I think you just need to look for who is the best play among those 5 to 6, 7 guys that are all in that 15 to 20% range, right? Because these guys who maybe don't have quite the opportunity that those others do are really struggling to hit any sort of value. You get the rare one-off every now and then, but it's not like wide receiver or tight end or quarterback in that these under-owned running backs are really under-owned for a reason. So I think so far this year, that's maybe my biggest takeaway in terms of trying to attack GPPs is that I'm just going to start eating a lot of the chalk and maybe trying to get the guy that's 15% owned versus 25, or the guy that is a little bit more expensive and people aren't playing him because of the spot, right? But he's still elite, right? So that's sort of where I'm at. But you know what? Let's get to these plays. All right, let's talk about it. So starting off at QB, all right, we've got my boy Will Levis. All right. 4.3% projected ownership. Salary on DK is 5,300. You know that the chalk this week is coming in on guys like Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. But my boy Will Levis is looking good. Actually, let's look at the chalk. So one thing that we do have over here at DFS Army, let me just plug in the website again, is what we call the chalkboard. And that shows us who the high owned plays are every single week on both sites. And you can see this updates in real time, right? So yeah, there's Joey B. 16.39%. Geno Smith. So we're actually not seeing your boy Lamar on here. Oh yeah, because they're off this week. What am I even thinking? No, they're not. They're playing. I don't know why we don't have Lamar. Is Lamar going to be under-owned? Oh, now I'm confused. We got to get into it here. Jared Goff, we're going to hear from in a little bit. But why is Lamar not showing up here? This is a good spot for them. Draftkings, let's go to, this is our domination station. You guys are getting a peek behind the tools here. Probably our most updated, right? So yeah, the Browns, I don't care about the Browns. The Browns are a good defense, but we got a 22.5 total here. QB. You know what? Lamar Jackson should be in this article. I am officially adding Lamar Jackson to the 10 under 10 article this week. He is going to be my number 11 play on the week. We are officially on this video adding Lamar Jackson because that is a ridiculous number. I don't care the price. Lamar Jackson is GPP and winning upside anytime he plays somebody. So if we can get Lamar at like under 5% owned, I'm all in. But back to my boy Will Levis. All right. The Bucs just got shredded by Stroud. Like, he looks great so far. He's hucking it through it 39 times. Like, he's not on the same level as Stroud, but he's serviceable. We saw him throw some just unreal passes so far. Like, that Titan stack and we'll make it here in a second on DraftKings with Levis, Hopkins, and Chigakonkwo leaves you with around 6,000 left per player. Like, you can play whoever you want after that. I think the other side of this game is great too. I love Mayfield stacks. He's just a guy who gets it done every single week. But like, my preferred sort of stack here, if I'm going to do a game stack, which I will, because even though, what do we got for a total here? If we look at the top, I can see, yeah, we've got a 39-point total, which on the slate is not that bad, right? Like, I mean, we got a lot of fairly low total games, but I think this one goes over for sure, even though the Titans play fairly slow. But I like Levis, Hopkins, Okonkwo, White, or Levis, Hopkins, White is sort of my preferred play. But Mike Evans is fine too. That brings me to my second quarterback, and that's Sam Howell. I really like Sam Howell. I think that he is the QB of the future for the Washington Commanders. They're going to start to build around him. He's thrown it 42 times or more in each of his last 3 games, and he's got over 300-yard passing in 2 of those. All right. You know what? You don't need to run it back with like anybody on the other side of this ball. Obviously, there's like some decent options here. I like all of the receivers for the Seahawks, and this Commanders defense is dog water, as the youngins like to say. But a Sam Howell, Jahan Dotson stack is perfect for me. And at 3% own all day on Sam Howell. Another guy that's just, we got to go back to the chalkboard here because. Again, this is another one where I'm like, why is my boy not getting any love here? 6.3%. I get that the price, but like, are we really going to play who's even similar? Like 3 times less Austin Eckler than Christian McCaffrey? I'm not, right? I love Eckler. I am not scared of that 2 against on the Lions. OPRK on DraftKings. We've seen Eckler do this against run defenses that are good, even just as recently as last week against the Jets. Without Palmer and Mike Williams, like his usage in the passing game is going to continue to grow. He only brought in 2 targets last week of his 7, but that's more of an anomaly than anything. I really like Austin Eckler this week. And when you use a stack like Sam Howell and Dotson, or use a stack like Will Levis and Chigakonkwo, or Will Levis and Hopkins, right? You can pay up and get a guy like Eckler, and you actually, with some of the value on the board, you can even potentially get like an Eckler CMC, which is sort of an intriguing build that I will be interested in this week. We talked about Jahan Dotson. Like, he has been the number 1 receiver the last 2 weeks for the Commanders. I think that continues. He's got TDs now the last 2 games, 18 targets over that span. Like, with all the focus on Scary Terry, Jahan Dotson is going under-owned and underlooked. Super solid value, 5K. Like, you can stack him, you can play him on his own. Like, don't care. There's no reason for Jahan Dotson to be this low-owned. And then finally, Chigakonkwo. I just love a good cheap tight end. There's not a lot of elite tight ends on the board this week. Can we see tight end, right? Like Trey McBride, 21.7. TJ Hawkinson, 17.5. like even like a Logan Thomas, Connor Hayward, like Chigakonkwo was on 80% of the snaps last week. Has had his continues to be involved in this offense. I really like him at 3,000. I'm paying down at tight end this week unless I'm stacking Andrews and Lamar together. But for the most part, I'm paying down on tight end, and I will be getting quite a bit of Chigi Okonkwo. I remember when he popped on the scene last year, and just nobody had a freaking clue who he was, and myself included. But he's a very solid tight end and we'll look at his sheet here in a second. So let's make a silly for the Millie stack here with Will Levis. All right, so we'll go Will Levis. We'll go my boy D Hop, who just smashed last week. Hopkins going to get up against one of the worst pass defenses in the NFL. Let's even get Chig in here. And like I said, we can look at his game log, averaging 5.2 fantasy points per game, but brought in 3 or 4 targets. It was on the field for 73% of the snaps. On Thursday, like underwhelming yardage, but I just think that he's going to pop through at some point here and get into the double digits. And if he does, that's 3-4x value. And I'm willing to take a chance on it this week, right? So I said, I love Eckler. Can we get an Eckler CMC together? It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard, especially if we play like the Cowboys, but I'm going to play the Vikings here because even though Derek Carr has done a nice job protecting the ball, I still think that this Vikings defense is so good. They blitz so much, and there's just, it's such a good spot for them at home against the Saints, really high on them. So outside of this, let's see. Okay, we got 4,500. Let's see. How much is Tank Dell? We play Tank Dell. That leaves us, and I'm playing Tank Dell because he is in absolute freaking smash spot with Nico Collins out. So is Noah Brown. I went Noah Brown last week, obviously, but I think that more people will be on him than are on Tank Dell this week. So I really do like that spot for him. And then you got a bunch of kind of ne'er-do-wells down here. So guys that I like in this sort of range, Van Jefferson. But maybe the sneaky play this week is going to be all the way down here at 3,000. I might actually have to search for him because we can't find him. Trenton Irwin's going to be the popular play with T. Higgins ruled out. He should see a lot more usage. Okay, week 5. This is what he did. 14 points. The guy that I'm going to, though, all right, is you're going to hear about him when I talk about FanDuel, and that's Rondale Moore. Okay, he's got, he's dealing with, Kyler Murray coming back, and with Murray, he smashed last year. So I am really high on Rondale Moore this week. So that's sort of how I'm attacking DraftKings. If you want to be a millionaire, like my boy Bobby Wow, right? You got to build kind of funky lineups like this where nobody was playing Danny Dimes, Sterling Shepard. Yeah, 100 and a TD. I didn't even realize that just Sterling Shepard getting to 100 is probably what won Bobby $1 million. Out of anything, right? He got the Mike Evans 3 TD game, but man, wow. You want to do that? Become a DFS Army VIP. All right, let's talk about FanDuel. What are we doing here? Play with Jared Goff. Like, I just get that he's expensive and he's on the road, but like he's been a monster all year. It's against the Chargers, who have the worst secondary in the NFL. Back to the California sunshine for Jared Goff. Amon-Ra is healthy. Jahmyr Gibbs is healthy. David Montgomery's likely back. Like, everything points to smash spot for Goff, even though it's on the road. And I wrote here one thing to note. Just because a crazy triple stack won the Millie last week, like, don't do that this week. It's not, we get in this recency bias thing where we think that we need to do what happened the week before. And the reality is that triple stacks very rarely win the Millie. It can happen, right? But don't just do it. I like him with Amon-Ra. I like Jameson Williams a lot. And Sammy Laporte is obviously an elite tight end too. But I said I like Baker Mayfield, right? Here's the thing I like about Mayfield is he just consistently puts up 20-point games, right? So if we look at, I'm on FanDuel right now. If we look at like by fantasy points per game, okay, Stroud 19.7, Mayfield's at 16.85, but if we look at his just recent results, it's so good, okay? Outside of this dud against Detroit, 19, 21, 17, 23. and against some like decent defenses. He did it on the road. And now he gets to go up against Tennessee, who's okay, but he's at home. I like Mayfield quite a bit here. And if he can get to that, like, he's going to have to drag somebody with him. But if we can find that elusive 3-touchdown game, right, then we're in a good spot. Throw in a little bit of rushing yardage, which he's gone over 30 in 2 of his last 5 games. Like, the guy can take off and run. And, you know, at 6,600, the only other guy that's maybe doing it similarly is like a Jordan Love, but his stats are skewed by one just massive game. You know, so actually Love's not been too bad. That 7.98 was pretty awful. But, you know, so similar to like a Jared Goff, like even Justin Herbert, 20.44, but oh, and that includes a dud. He's had some good games this year. I really do like Baker Mayfield. The dollar sign makes sense. And look at this. My boy Mike Thomas coming off a 0 gets back into the article. I am going right back to him because everything that I liked about him is still true, right? He's still a huge part of this offense. He still do positive TD regression. 1 week aside, like, it doesn't matter. He still commands a ton of targets. Like, I am right back on Mike Thomas. Even though I said I like the Vikings D, I'm on Mike Thomas because he is a big part of this offense and no one is going to play him this week. Talked about how Rondale Moore, he's done nothing this year, but Kyler Murray is back. I think this is like the GPP winning play this week. If it's not Rondale Moore, I think it's going to be Jameson Williams. All right. Williams is poised for a breakout. He's got a ton of air yards. Goff is looking at him on the deep ball. He has multiple touchdown upside. He looks at him in the red zone. I just think that, like, I don't know that I love the Jared Goff and Jameson Williams stack, though that obviously could be a Millie Maker winner. I almost think that the one-off is a better play here because I think that Williams could get a 2 TD 100-yard game and Goff still is sort of mediocre. Right. And then I love my GPP winning defense for the week this is like, a generational wealth spot I wrote with the Cowboys against the Tommy DeVito led New York Giants, whose offensive line is decimated. DeVito might not make it out of this game. So let's build some lineups here. I'm just going to throw in that Cowboys defense right away because I get that they're $1,100 more than the next guy. But like I said, this is just such an unreal spot. So let's build a Jared Goff stack here. Okay. And what does that look like? It's a little expensive, right? Especially when you go Amon. He's not a quarterback. When you get Amon-Ra St. Brown in there at 8,600, right? We're gonna probably have to find some salary savings. Austin Eckler, 58. All right. So where do we find those salary savings? Really, the first spot is obviously at tight end. You know, you go to my boy Chigakonkwo, you're at 4,800. That gets us back into like a reasonable range. All right. I said I'm not playing cheap running backs anymore. Rachaad White, not a cheap running back, but I really think he's in a good spot against Tennessee. You know, you could, let's say you go Laporta here. I like it, but I don't know that I love the rest of your lineup, right? Let's see what we can do. I like Moore. This is already feeling kind of iffy. I like Rondale Moore. Who else do I like? So I'm at 5,500. If we go down to this sort of range, you can go play guys like, I can play Kadarrell Hodge. I don't hate him here. Woods. What's Noah Brown? 54. Hank Dell. 64. So if we went Noah Brown, not the worst play in the world. I haven't played a Jahan Dotson lineup yet. What's his price on? See, like, that's just so much better for me. So if I were to drop off of Laporta to Chig, Okonkwo, it looks so much better, you guys. Like, I have so much more salary, 1,100. So actually, I would probably move Dotson to here. Okay. And I don't think you need to pair the Cowboys with anybody. If you did, you could go Jake Ferguson, who I like quite a bit. But let's see, 65. What can I get for a running back for 65? I'm going to say right now, guys, this Bijan Robinson number is wild. Like 6,700 for Bijan Robinson is an insane number to me. You can go Singletary. Will that get me up to Jake Ferguson? Oh, it's so close. Why do they hate me? Why do they hate me? Okay, let's say I don't play Rashad White here. Where does that leave me? Aaron Jones, no. Oh, it's ugly, but that is a Millie Maker winning lineup. That is a Millie Maker winning lineup. Singletary starting for Pierce. That's the sort of lineup that I think, the sort of build that I think can get it done. All right. You could throw in, like I said, Laporta if you can get there. You might have to drop off the Cowboys D. If we're going to drop off the Cowboys D, let's see what that kind of looks like because they're going to be chalky. I get that. Yeah. Ooh, like we could get the Vikings for really cheap here. Right. And now I can feel really good about my second running back. I think the Vikings have as good of a chance. Jahmyr Gibbs. That's intriguing to me. Let's not go Gibbs, but let's go Gibbs and Jameson Williams and then see where we upgrade. $5,400. Oh yeah, we can get nasty. We can get rid of Rondale Moore and play Mike Evans, Chris Olave, DK Metcalf, who I think is in for a monster potential game. So I like all these sort of builds, you guys. It's an intriguing way to go about it. We can go, you can, and then again, you can just sort of mess with this and go Laporta here, right? You just really want to get some Goff lineups that are similar, right? We go to the running back room and we play somebody like Derrick Henry, right? Opposite of the Will Levis play, but Henry, smash spot. You can hope for a bounce back from Tony Pollard. Saquon, not a great spot. Ken Walker, great spot. Leaves me a 700 left. I don't hate that. Get the Walker. I'm going to upgrade from DK like I'm playing Walker, right? So let's go to wide receiver. I can get to not Justin Jefferson, Mike Evans. Again, all about these sort of games that I'm getting little pieces of here and there. So that is where I'm at this week, guys. I hope that was helpful. I hope that we can have another fantastic week like we did last week. If you like this content, again, click the like and subscribe button and hopefully help you win some money. All right. Tell me who you guys like for your favorite play this week. And tell me if you like the lineup construction building. I obviously enjoy doing that. I like kind of sort of talking through it. I know some guys have asked for that in the past, but if that's something that you'd like to see me keep doing, maybe do it more, let me know. And we'll add that in. If you want me to just shut up, I'll do that too. And that's what I'm going to do right now. Peace.